At first, police thought the most disturbing part of this case would be how Jonathan Willette was found. They were wrong, because the detail that would freeze the courtroom, the detail that would make jurors physically recoil, wasn't discovered at the crime scene. It was discovered in a marriage record. A signature, a date, and a last name that should never have been there. Jonathan Willette's ex-wife had married his son, and she did it after he vanished, but before anyone knew he was dead. That timing was not a coincidence, and as investigators would soon learn, nothing about Devyn Michaels ever was. But to understand how a woman could erase a man from existence and replace him with his own child, we need to go back to a marriage that looked ordinary until it quietly became something far more dangerous. Jonathan Willette was predictable. That's how friends described him. He woke up early, he worked with his hands, he paid his bills on time, and he believed that if you stayed calm long enough, problems eventually solved themselves. Devyn Michaels was the opposite. She was emotional, expressive, and deeply intense. She spoke about intuition, about energy, about people who didn't understand her depth. When they met, those differences felt complementary. Jonathan liked structure, Devyn liked attention. They married quickly, and for the first few years, things appeared stable. From the outside, they were just another couple navigating work stress and blended family dynamics. But inside the house, the emotional temperature was constantly shifting. Friends noticed Jonathan withdrawing. Devyn, meanwhile, grew increasingly involved in every aspect of his life: who he spoke to, how he spent money, what time he came home. Jonathan didn't see it as control at first. He saw it as passion. But passion can curdle quietly, and by the time Jonathan realized what he was living with, Devyn had already learned exactly how to keep him close. When Jonathan filed for divorce, it shocked Devyn. Not because the marriage was happy, but because she believed she was indispensable. Court records described escalating arguments, emotional manipulation, and Jonathan's increasing fear that he was losing autonomy. Devyn contested nearly everything: money, property, access. But the most unsettling part came after the divorce was finalized. Devyn didn't leave Jonathan's life. She repositioned herself inside it, through his son. Jonathan's son, Evan, was in his early 20s, quiet, introverted, emotionally vulnerable. He had never bonded deeply with his biological mother. Devyn knew that. She began reaching out to Evan to help him through the divorce. The messages were nurturing at first, then personal, then exclusive. And slowly, Jonathan began to notice something was very wrong, because while Jonathan thought the divorce had created distance, Devyn was actually embedding herself deeper than ever before. Jonathan confronted Devyn. He told her to stop contacting Evan. He told her it was inappropriate. Devyn didn't argue. She listened. And then she did something far more dangerous. She reframed the situation. She told Evan that Jonathan was jealous, that Jonathan was controlling, that Jonathan was trying to isolate him. And Evan, already emotionally dependent, believed her. This wasn't romance yet, but it was grooming. Prosecutors would later describe Devyn's behavior as emotional positioning, placing herself as the only person Evan could trust. Jonathan felt powerless, and that fear would become the final turning point. Because when Jonathan decided to confront Devyn one last time, he didn't realize it would be the last decision he ever made. On a Tuesday evening, a coworker told Jonathan he was meeting Devyn to clear the air. Phone records confirmed the call. She invited him to her home. She promised closure. Jonathan arrived just after 8 p.m. Security cameras nearby showed his truck parked outside. What happened inside that house would never be fully seen, but investigators later determined one thing with certainty. There was no struggle loud enough for neighbors to hear, no chaos, no panic. Whatever occurred was controlled, quiet, intentional. Jonathan was never seen again, and what Devyn did next was even more chilling than the disappearance itself. When Jonathan didn't show up to work, concern was slow to rise. He was reliable, but not dramatic. A day passed, then 2, then 4. His phone went unanswered, his accounts untouched. Police conducted a welfare check at Devyn's home. She was calm, composed. She told officers Jonathan had been unstable, that he talked about leaving town, that she hoped he was finding peace. Her voice never shook. And then she moved on. Not emotionally, not quietly, but legally. 6 weeks after Jonathan vanished, Devyn married Evan. No announcement, no celebration, no explanation. Family members were horrified. Investigators were stunned. Jonathan was still legally alive, and yet his ex-wife had replaced him, not with another man, but with his own son. Prosecutors would later argue this was not love, it was symbolism, erasure, control. If you're still watching, it means this story has you. Subscribing helps you catch cases like this the moment they unfold. And then Jonathan's body was found. A jogger found the remains on the outskirts of Las Vegas, deliberately placed, partially concealed, missing identifying features. This wasn't rage, it was planning. Cell phone data placed Devyn near the location in the early morning hours after Jonathan disappeared. Surveillance footage contradicted her timeline. Forensic evidence pointed back to one person. And suddenly, the marriage looked less shocking and more strategic. Because the story Devyn built was collapsing, and she knew it. When police arrested Devyn, she did not resist. She did not cry. She asked one question: is Evan okay? Not Jonathan, not herself, just the person she still believed she controlled. But control doesn't survive scrutiny, especially not in a courtroom. Prosecutors laid out a timeline that felt more psychological than physical. They showed how Devyn isolated Jonathan, how she repositioned herself through Evan, how she removed Jonathan, then replaced him. Search histories, financial records, message patterns. It wasn't one piece of evidence, it was a story of possession. And the jury saw it. After 11 hours of deliberation, guilty. First-degree murder, life without parole. Devyn showed no emotion. Evan broke down, and as Devyn was led away, she reportedly said, "I just wanted us to be a family." If this case made you stop and think, a like helps more people see it. True crime often asks why, but this case asks something darker. How does control disguise itself as care? How does manipulation sound like love? And how many warning signs do we miss because nothing looks violent until it's far too late? Because the most terrifying part of this story isn't how Jonathan died, it's how calmly Devyn lived afterward, as if he had never existed at all. I want to know what you think. Was this about love or control? This channel covers the cases that don't leave you when the video ends. Subscribe if that's the kind of true crime you're here for. Do you believe this was about love or control? I'm reading every comment.